What's up? What's up? Grand Rising. Let's give it a minute. See who else joins here. Get my cash. Just ordered me some good food. Got an omelet on the way. Perks. See, in Mexico, it's a challenge. At least where I live. Because I live far enough away from the big cities. Even Tulum. Like I tell people I live in Tulum, but it's like really 15, 20 minutes away from Tulum because no one's heard of where I live. And I like it that way. But because of that, we are secluded. We're away from all the tourists and things, but also we don't have as much options for restaurants and all that. So a lot of times my lovely girlfriend Mia cooks wonderful food for me. But also we do live in a country club, so we got a clubhouse. They're gonna deliver me that beautiful omelet. So I'm not gonna be at my normal desk because I want to wait for them. Make sure they're not waiting at the door for me. But yeah, I'm gonna announce really quick into Signal though that we're going live. Yeah, guys, we're feeling good. Hold up real quick. Turn some lights on. Okay. Let's tell them. Let's tell them. Let's tell them. Stoked. Today we're just gonna go over charts, obviously. Okay. Just gotta copy this Zoom meeting. Oh wait, there we go. This one. And let's tell Discord. Okay. Very good. So those that may join may join. I want to start out just bringing it present. Yeah, bring it to the moment. It's really good to just stay present as much as possible, of course, right? But especially with trading, making sure that we're always checking in. In life in general, always making sure that we're checking in, because if we do things with heightened emotions, we're probably going to make a mistake that we might possibly could regret. Of course, this is in trading, but in life in general, we don't want to have a conversation with someone when we're angry, right? We don't want to have make a decision when we're angry, or even when we're really excited, when we feel like on top of the world. It's like that euphoria even can cause challenges. So by bringing ourselves present to each moment, just kind of checking in, asking where we're at, we're going to allow ourselves to be able to go about our life in a more intentional way, and we're not going to cause ourselves issues down the road. Okay. So how can we build that consciousness? Because it's hard. Like when you're in the moment of any situation, whether it's something that's making you mad, making you sad, making you really excited, that's ego. All of it, all emotion. When emotion starts to take over your thinking, that's your ego. And so we want to bring it back to spirit. So when we're in the ego, when the emotions running strong, it takes over, and it will convince us that, hey, we're in our, especially if you're feeling good, if you're feeling euphoric, which is really easy to do in charts, and especially, in crypto, we get in crypto at the low lows and we ride it, and it's like, wow, I've never experienced this much return before, in a short time. It can be really easy to get excited. And when we get excited, we actually make the same mistakes that we would make if we were trading while angry. Seriously, we don't pay as close attention, and we just look over things because we have this like oh, I'm great, I keep winning, and I'm probably just going to keep winning forever, and when we get in that mindset, we get humbled from experience. So the key here is not necessarily being good at being able to shift your emotional state. That takes time. That takes a lot of time. We can always get better. And coming from someone who works on that, I'm not a master by any means, but the tools that I've used have made me so much better with being in tune with where I'm at than really ever before. And so even though I'm not so perfect with my emotions, what I am really good at, especially with trading, is knowing when emotions are present. I know I at least bare minimum, I'm conscious and I can say, yes, I feel annoyed right now, or yes, I feel kind of excited. I'm really good at that. And that's taken practice. And I'll talk about the journaling practice I do that's really helped me a lot with that. But by just being present and saying, I feel this, I don't feel 100% neutral. I do feel a little excited. I just know when not to trade. That's basically what it does for me, is just being conscious and aware. Okay, I'm in somewhat of an emotional state, whether that's excitement, sadness, anger, whatever. I shouldn't be trading right now. And I probably, and this is, yes, I'm referring to trading because, that's what I do. I'm a trading coach, right? And I'm a trader, and, these live streams were mostly about trading. But in the end, how we are in one aspect of our life is how we are in all of them. So to become a good trader, to become a conscious trader, to become an aware trader, we just got to become a good, conscious and aware human in the rest of our life. So one practice that really helped me, and, there's no really shortcuts. Even the most powerful things that I've done and practiced that have changed my life immensely. Oh, there's my omelet. 1 second, guys. I just got to pay him. But pause. Even the things that are most powerful that have changed my life immensely. Those are the last words. Hold on. I'm going to bring it back right to that. But hola, ¿qué tal? Diciendo dónde queda retorno. Sí, la verdad. Vamos. Digo, es que como no se encuentra el chico que siempre hace el delivery, la verdad. Tengo efectivo por la propina. ¿Necesita mi PIN? Me parece que sí. Okay. My Spanish is getting good, guys. Okay, let me complete that thought while he's running my card. So even the most powerful things that we could do that I've done that have changed my life, they're all the changes come with consistency. Okay. You can't just expect to learn, even if it's a super powerful practice. You're like, all right, I know how to change the world in a moment. Consistency. It won't happen overnight. That's trading, that's life, that's meditation, that's all of it. Sí. Okay. Oh, gracias. Hasta luego. Okay, I'm back. So consistency. Yeah, I do run ads for my coaching and for trading and all that. I want to really, get this community super big, but the biggest thing the biggest challenge in this world for a lot of people is having that patience and being willing to be consistent with anything. So many people, and it's a lot of social media that does that, because we can easily get that instant gratification, right? We can get those dopamine hits just by logging into Instagram, right, or clicking the TikTok app or whatever. And so those little things have trained a lot of people to just look for that instant gratification. And if it's not happening now, then I just need to do something different. Now, in general, there are positives and negatives to this, but I will say that for those of us that can be patient, for those of us that are willing to delay the gratification, for those of us that are, and that's not just in trading, this is in life in general. For those that are consistently able to delay gratification, to delay the fulfillment of a desire, those are the people that are going to see massive success, a couple years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. And it's going to be magnified once again, because this world is full of people who are impatient, mostly because of society and social media. So having said that, the initial thought was on emotion. and how we can shift emotions, or at least be conscious of them. So one of the most powerful practices that have helped me is journaling consistently my emotions, if I can, right when they come up. But at the end of the day, scanning back through the day, asking myself, when did I feel any emotion today? Do I feel, frustrated? Did someone cut me off on the road? Or did someone bring me flowers to my job, or, or to whatever? Looking back at every moment and journaling. Okay, today I felt this emotion at this time. I felt a little annoyed because someone cut me off on the road. And then detailing in your journal, what does annoyed feel like? Well, I could feel a little like pressure in my fist, and I could feel my head was getting a little warm, and I really wanted to like kind of, cuss at this guy, or this, like, why would you put me in danger, right? And what does that feel like? And what are the thoughts? And being super, super like looking at it as if you're watching yourself on a movie screen, and you can see all the inside feelings and sensory experiences, all that from this emotion. So writing down, doing this every day. If you do this every day for 30 days, you go back, if you can, while the emotion comes up when you notice it, great. But if it has to be at the end of your day, where you go back and you scan through your day, you journal all your emotions, and you journal exactly how you felt. Where if you don't, if you have access to my course, actually, I have an emotional intelligence video. And in that video, in the course, I talk about all the different ways emotions can present themselves. And there's actually in that slideshow, or in the slideshow, in the video, there's a screenshot showing a heat map of the human body where the blood flows with specific emotions. And so being really present, that's, that you're feeling even those physical sensations. So just by writing those out, you do that for 30 days. Oh my God, you're going to be so present. Every time an emotion comes up, you're going to be like, wow, I know. Okay, I noticed I'm feeling a little annoyed. Seriously, it's like life-changing. And once again, we don't have to be good at alchemizing the emotions. I think that's probably a lifelong practice, maybe multiple lifetimes, to really be able to alchemize and to not allow the emotions to take over, but to live in harmony with them, because they are a gift. Emotions are a gift. We shouldn't be emotionless. They're a gift to assist us in enjoying this world. That's what makes us different from some inorganic AI computer, right? Is the emotions we can feel, right? That's a gift. That's a huge gift. So anyways, living harmoniously, but journaling your emotions every single day for 30 days will make you a better trader, will make you a better human, make you a better boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, son, daughter. Not to just like say just one or two genders, but in the end, like it's how it is. So we don't have to be good. And why would this make us better? Because we're gonna know. Okay, I know that this is how it feels when anger comes up, and I know that when anger comes up, that if I don't do something different, it leads to this, and I don't want to lead to that. And inversely, when I feel excitement come up, I know exactly what it feels like. And if I trade while I'm excited, I know that that leads to a loss, or that leads to me over trading or putting too much of a position or too much money into a trade. So I'm just not going to do that. Right. But if we're not conscious of it, which is the hardest part initially, we're never going to be able to shift that, to switch it. And so we just got to be willing to walk away. So anyway, let's go. You always reminded me of the practices I need to be better at. First, the dream board, now this. Yes, this is consistency. That's the thing. Because one of the biggest things that, I tell people know like, oh yeah, I need to do this. I know I need, this is how I do it. This is like, I know this is what I need to grow. And I know the practices that really will get me to the next level. But the challenge for most people is that their why isn't big enough. The reason why we would do something, because we read like, oh yeah, that would be good for me to do. But it's like the why behind it, there's no substance. So if you don't have like a big reason why you should go work out or go on a run or meditate or do breath work or whatever, if your reason isn't big enough, it's going to be really easy to just like, oh, why would I do that when I could just go watch Netflix, or I can go scroll TikTok or scroll Instagram? Why? Like, what's the point? We have to really go in depth, and we have to build these belief systems, and to build this why, so that the motivation just comes. We have to realize that our reason for doing something has to be way greater than the reason for not doing the something. And so the way that I've built this in myself is I really break it down. Okay, what do I want to experience? And what does it take to become the person who experiences that? So initially, you know, when I started trading, my goal was to be able to just live off of that so I could travel. So when I was focusing on money, okay, I just need to make money, need to make money, need to make money. It kept running from me. My why was just the money. But then when I started to shift that and I realized, what's the real why? What's the money gonna do? Well, the money will get me, I'll be able to travel easily. You know, yeah, I could volunteer and all that, but why would I want to try to get handouts from people if I could just have the money and just pay and actually I could live in a way that I choose? Because if I'm trying to volunteer and get stuff for free, because we don't need money to live a cool life, right? But it definitely helps in this world. So okay, so if I don't need money to be able to travel and live around the world, because I just realized I could volunteer everywhere, and even you can get sponsors that pay for your plane tickets and everything. So okay, so if I don't need money to actually live that life of traveling, so then what's the real reason? Well, what does money do? Money gives me choice. I can have choice to where I live, to how I live, how long I live somewhere, how I eat, right? It gives me more choice because there are a lot of restaurants, there are a lot of apartments, there are a lot of houses that won't take anything except for money. There are some out there that you don't need to take, you don't need to give them money to live there, but most you do. So because of that, money gives me more choices. So right there, just by taking a moment and asking myself, why do I want to make the money? I'm able to break it down and see that the why is not the money. The why is freedom of choice. So that when it comes down to the realizing, okay, so I want freedom of choice. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, where I want. I want to be able to have the resources if I want to create a business, create a system, create anything, buy a house, travel to a new country. I want to be able to do that without thinking twice. I don't want to have to rely on, I don't want to have to set an alarm because someone else told me that I need to be up at a job at a specific time. I don't want to do anything like, I don't want any of that. So making money, making a specific amount of money will allow me to easily live that life. So once again, it's not about the money, it's about living the free life. So now my why isn't because I want to make money. My why is because I want to be free. And you see how much more deep and powerful that is than saying, hey, I want to make money. When you're doing things, when you're like, okay, I know that I should go get physical with my body, you know, or I know that I should stop any of these bad habits, or I know that I should just do breath work every day, right? Whatever the thing is that you know will help you to get to the next level, to feel good 3, 6, 9 months from now, your why, once again, has to be greater than the why not to do it. Okay. So the reason you do something, once the pain of staying the same and not achieving that is greater than the pain of whatever it takes for you to focus on and to do to achieve that, it'll be really easy. Okay. So I realized that in my life, you know, I'm good, I'm comfortable, I'm empowered, you know, I'm empowered and I'm always growing, I'm always expanding. But I also realize that because every time I get to a higher level of expansion, I open up higher levels. And the moment that I stop and I slow down, I'm allowing myself to start to retract. If we're not expanding, we are contracting. And so my why is, yes, I want to, not only do I want to have freedom, but I want to see greater levels of freedom. And matter of fact, I get tons of joy when I'm able to share that freedom with others as well. And so now I'm at a point where I am free to my definition in many different ways. Yes, we can go higher. We can experience higher levels of freedom. But now my drive is I want to see the people around me also experience higher levels of freedom. And matter of fact, I want to see the whole earth do it, because if we can come together, we can make a cool society like Atlantis, or what's that movie where something about the year 3000? I forget. It's like a really cool cartoon movie, but everything is really, they showed two different futures. One that was like horrible and everyone was in it was all bad, and then one where everything was abundant and empowered. And so I see how powerful it could be for everyone's individual growth to progress towards a more expansive society, a more inclusive society. And I want to see those things on the world. And to me, the why, the achieving that, to seeing that come to fruition, even if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, that is so much greater to me than any reason why I wouldn't. It's so greater to me than the desire for scrolling TikTok or scrolling Instagram. I'm not saying that I don't do these things, but what I am saying is my priorities are straight, and that I know what I get to do every day to progress that goal. And I know that if I don't have consistency in progressing that goal, it's not going to happen. We have to consistently put energy and consciousness into things in this 3D world. Yes, in the quantum, when we move past this, we can just think and it happens, right? But we're not in that right now. We can connect to that being consistently, but we are in this physical experience. And so there is doing involved, consistent doing. So, and honestly, when I say doing, it's not always the physical doing, but it could also be mental doing, visualization, thinking, sending energy to the things that you want to experience, right? So, okay, that's my tangent for today. So to wrap it up, journaling your emotions consistently, and then whatever else you should be doing when it comes to spiritual practice, when it comes to eating habits, all that. Your why to make the shift or to do the thing that you should be doing has to be greater than your reason why not. And if it's just, I just want to feel better, it's like, why? Why do you want to feel better? What are you going to get out of that? Right? Well, when I feel better, I'm more mentally stable. I'm clear. I'm confident. When I'm mentally stable, clear, and confident, my ideas or the content I create or the conversations I have, everything is on, and it provides so much value to myself and to the rest of the world. Okay, so it's not just about I want to feel better. It's about I want to give my absolute best to myself and to those around me. And so to do that, I need to make sure I feel better. Okay, that's the tangent. So journal your emotions, and remember that consistency will make these things happen. So let's get into charts. How about that, guys? I'm feeling pretty good about charts today. Let me share my screen. I'm not at my desk, but actually, why not? I can go up to my desk now that I got my omelet. In the meantime, though, I will pull up a little chart, and I can look at it while I walk up the stairs. Let's see here. Okay, we go ahead and share my screen. Beautiful. Okay. GBP, JPY doing some crazy things. Okay, we are on the 15-minute. Okay, not that crazy. I was on a couple calls this week, and I said, hey, this is a bottom. If you want, you could buy. I didn't buy into this because really the good time to be watching this would have been down here. But this is a capitulation movement. And capitulation is where it's just like strong downward movement to create tons of cascading liquidations and stop losses and all that to really force the price down on something, so that they can, whoever's forcing the price down, whether it be a bank, a big hedge fund, or they're teaming up together, they can set some sells and they can force the price down really strong. And so they might have sold to push the price down to here. And what they did is also kind of with the momentum, we were in the strong uptrend. They did a double whammy. Okay. So you got this price action here where this kind of looks like a downtrend. All this looks like it's going to go down. Here looks like it would go down. And then we end up breaking upward. We hit that same resistance line that we did. So now all the people that maybe thought it was going to go down, they either were stopped out or closed their trade because it went up. And this is a breakout. So most people could have assumed, and I was actually looking at this trade before. I remember talking about it in another live stream, like back here, like, hey guys, this looks good. And I think even back here, like, I think it's going to go up. And it did. But then look at this strong downward movement happened right after that. So we got people that were probably liquidated or stopped out to the top, and especially to the bottom side after the fake out happened. Basically, what happened in the market is they got everyone who was buying, and even the people who weren't, stoked, saying, hey, this is a breakout. Because you can very clearly see we have this wedge that was drawn, and we've been in this uptrend. So we could have, trend is your friend, assume that. So they push the price up. A bunch of people are like, oh, hey, it's going up now. And then it tanks. Okay. This type of price action, when you get a strong movement like this and you get a strong wick, a hammer on the daily, that 9 times out of 10 is a bottom, okay? A strong bottom. On top of that, we can see that that level here held that strong support that we held for so long. From March 2021, we touched it multiple times all the way until December 2021. So would I buy now? Probably not. It's not a horrible one. Let's just kind of look at what we could potentially do. My initial resistance level is going to be where we saw support here. Although I do believe we'll pop up and we could probably even come at least to this level here if we don't end up making new highs. Because a lot of times with a capitulation candle or capitulation movement like this, usually you start to make new highs. Now, this is very rare in Forex. This almost never happens in Forex, but it happens a lot in crypto. Not lately though. But this, I will tell you, that movement that we just saw on GBP JPY, that's what I want to see with Bitcoin. Okay, with Bitcoin and crypto in general. So let's go over crypto, but I'm gonna pull up USD JPY and hold on. I'm gonna make this trip really quick off the disclaimers. Just make sure I got all my stuff here. Okay, so USD JPY, you guys can see here. I'm just gonna talk it out while I'm walking. I might cut out for a second. But you can see here that we were going up all the way to the left. I'll probably just wait actually till I'm here. But it looks like we are getting a strong reversal happening. If you've been watching the markets, you know that USD JPY has been heading up for a while, okay? And it's been crazy. And what's the reason behind that? The reason is because although people talk about the US inflating their currency, Japan is probably the absolute worst over the last couple of years. They have done so many horrible things to their currency. They printed so much. You can look at any pair, and basically every single pair had been for a while moving up, as compared to the Japanese yen since 2021. Okay, so this still happened now. Has been happening now. What do I got these crazy lines here? Let's delete those. It seems like we are reversing now, though, a little bit. So if I go to the 4 hour, let's start with the daily, actually. So daily, we've hit and we've rejected this level multiple times. And we just had this really strong, a few days ago, last week, we had a really, really strong, what I call Darth Maul candle. I call it Darth Maul because it's like the Darth Maul from Star Wars has the lightsaber that's double-sided. And so the wicks look like that double-sided lightsaber, all right? And so Darth Maul candles also can have really small bodies, but usually when you have a large body like this, that's what will tell you what's happening. So in this case, because this Darth Maul candle ended up being a strong bearish candle body, that tells you that you're probably more likely to go to the downside. Now, we did bounce off the moving average and seem to be continuing. However, notice how we hit the same resistance level, and it seems to me that we're heading down again. So let's go to the 4 hour. And I drew these arrows, I want to say either on Friday or Monday. I can't really remember. But this is kind of what I anticipated to happen anyway. Here's what on the 4 hour, that Darth Maul candle I was referring to on the daily, this is what it looks like on the 4 hour. Oops, I mean to move that line. Bring it back here. That's what it looks like right here. So a couple things I see is here we came down really strong, close outside of the Bollinger Bands, and now we've attempted to come up. And notice how we're approaching the beginning of that downward movement. Okay, see how the candle bodies is what I'm looking at. These candle bodies, the beginning of a movement, of a strong movement, is usually always a resistance level, okay, or a support level if it's the opposite, right? So in this case, we had a downward movement. So the beginning of this movement is going to be a resistance level. And just notice how I draw these. It's just a fact that I know and that I talk about a lot. And notice very clearly we could have drawn the line of these candle bodies here and see how we touched that perfectly, and we're now resisting downward. Okay, so to me, what's happening is it looks like distribution. And on the 4-hour here, we can see we made a new low. So distribution, what does that mean? That means that someone or multiple people are kind of pushing the price a little bit up and down to get rid of a large position. Because if they were to sell everything immediately, it would force the market down really strong. So they want to sell a little bit. Let's push it down. Let's sell some so it goes down. We'll push it back up, have other people buy it to have it go back up, and we'll sell some more. And so this to me looks just like a big sale that happened. I will say though, on the other side, looking at potentially buys, the very beginning candle of a movement is a lot of times a telltale sign of what might happen in the movement itself. So since this was a strong engulfing candle, this tells us that there's sometimes, usually, a lot of times, if there's a strong engulfing candle as the first candle in the next movement. So here we move down, and this is the first candle in this upward movement. Since that's a strong engulfing candle, that usually once again determines what might happen. Usually that means is that we'll make a new high. However, we have this resistance level I wouldn't ignore, and we did make a new low. So I would say that the pattern is a lot more strong to look at this as being, a potential reversal level. This isn't a place for me to get into a sell because we've been going sideways. I'd probably want to wait for more confirmation here on the daily to get more, to potentially get into a sell. On the daily, we'd have to move down below this moving average. I would say though, on the 4-hour, if we saw that we're already kind of moving below, if we come down a little bit and then bounce up to retest and then we come lower, that's when I'll get in my sell. Otherwise, we have been in the strong uptrend for a while. And I tried to catch the top of USD JPY multiple times in this whole upward movement, like 3 or 4 different times since April, because when it moves up really strong, what goes up must come down. It happens all the time, happens in every market. Like, let's look at Bitcoin. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. Let's go to silver. Weekly being. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. So there's ebbs and flows. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. It's just how it goes. So that's kind of what I was looking at for USD JPY. It will come. It's just a matter of when. So we could see how that monthly candlestick is, or the monthly movement is so strong. What about the yearly? Yearly is just one candle. We've had yearlies where we moved up 3 candles before, or I guess we're 2 in. So we could keep going. But yearly, it looks like we're making new highs. So we are getting pretty close to a resistance level, though, that we experienced back in 1990, 1989. Well, actually, we had this resistance level here in 1998. So we haven't seen levels of USD JPY that we're at now since 1998. And it looks like we're going to break it really strong. So yeah, family, let's see what happens. I don't see a trade right now on this one. So, it's just kind of a no trade zone for the last 2. I'd rather wait. GBP JPY, for me, even though, yes, we have this candle that a lot of times is a strong sign that it's a bottom. And I can probably most likely will look back and at this moment here that I'm talking and be like, I tell myself, I told you so, that it was going to go up, because I really believe it's going to go up. I don't know if it'll make new highs, but it's definitely going to go up. But the reason I'm not trading it is because with that strong downward movement, it could mean that the trend is changing. And so this upward movement could just simply be looking for a retest to then go lower. But I'm not going to expect it to make new highs. That's for sure. Because once again, we've hit this resistance level multiple times and we just made a new low. So I'm kind of, I'm just waiting on that one. I'd rather just be patient, wait it out, see how it flows before I make a decision. And I'm going to wait for the retest, whether it's to the upside or the downside. Okay. USD JPY just went over. Euro USD looks really good to continue down. Not at this moment though. I do believe that the euro will probably end up going to like 86 cents versus the dollar. My next level though for sure is 92 cents. But it looks like we want to see some kind of bounce, maybe a retest before we move down to that level. We've been moving down pretty strong for a while. And so we have to realize that once again, what goes down must come up. And so, we eventually are going to retest pretty strong sometime. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how far. So I'm just weary about this, but basically, as long as the trend's flowing, when we get the signs of a retest, you can see right now, we just got a hammer on yesterday's daily, or an inverted hammer, which is a sign of a reversal, right? So that just tells us to wait it out. We don't want to get into a buy. If you're trading on the low time frames, maybe you could search for a buy. But based off the daily, we're just going to simply wait for some kind of retest at any one of these levels that we have drawn. And if the price action fits, like right here, look at this. We came down, we came up, we had this retest of the top Bollinger Band here, mostly. We also kind of came down, and we can see that this was a little bit of a retest of what was this support level here. It wasn't the spot to actually get in the trade. Could have been. Get in a sell, put it below or above the previous high, and you could have wrote it. But we want to see some price action like that. Some rejection off the top Bollinger Band, strong wicks, engulfing candles, stuff like that. So we just kind of wait. For me, same thing. No trade. Not going to get into a buy because we're in a heavy downtrend. But not going to get into a sell right now because we have some signs of potential reversal. So, and we are moving up. GBP USD looks the exact same as Euro USD. Period. About to get a strong. If this is where you could enter a buy, very low risk to reward ratio buy. If this weekly candle closes at like a hammer like this, you can basically bet it's guaranteed that we're going to come up and at least test. I'd say this first level is going to be right here where we see this bullish candle. Second level right here. So we're definitely going to at least retest in that area if this weekly closes like a hammer, like a doji, like this. So we can front run with the daily. Daily's already given us a hammer. This is potentially actually a decent scalp. Once again, we are going against the trend if we were to actually make this trade. This one looks better to me than Euro USD, honestly. And why is that? Yeah, Euro USD is just, we got a strong candle that pumped. We don't have as much of a wick on the bottom. That's what it is. Where here we have some strong wicks. We have this one that's printed, and we have this one that's 5 hours away, and we've already got a strong wick. We also have that inverted hammer though. So, okay, where's the next potential level? My stop loss would be below the low if I were to make this. And then the next potential level that we retest is right here. And right there, you can see this is a 1.04 risk to reward ratio. So I wouldn't make this trade, period. So even though it looks good for a bounce, it's going to be better, much, much better risk to reward ratio. If I just wait for that sell to come, we come up and we retest somewhere probably between here and here. At the most, we come up to here. And so we just look to enter somewhere around here. And we can at least in our stop loss, depending on where we retest, stop loss could be around there. And our take profit would be at least where we tested. But if we already tested, if we test this line like we just have, if we don't make a new high, then that means that this wasn't really strong support. Okay. If it's really strong support, then it would actually change the trend. If the trend doesn't change, then we can expect that we're going to go down and actually make a new low, that we're not going to hold this level. I would make my initial take profit there where we tested, where we hit that support, but just anticipating once again that it probably will go lower if we don't make a new high in the next, it's going to be a week or two, right? So let's wait and find out. Same thing here. No trade that I see at the moment. Gold is moving down. I don't see a trade here as well either. Been in this downtrend. We seem to be bouncing a little bit right now. Just not it for me. Silver and gold are the same, but silver, well, they usually work the same, but silver does look a lot different right now. What is silver telling us? Let's go to a weekly. Ooh, silver seems to say, hey, we're slowing down. See, look at, we got an upward movement, strong downward movement, tiny upward movement, downward movement. Then we got a bit of a stronger upward movement. And then this downward movement wasn't nearly as big as the last two. So that tells us that the momentum's kind of slowing down. Now, on top of that, at the beginning of a movement is either support or resistance, right? So that means that if this is an upward movement, the beginning of this movement, the candle bodies, is a support level. So if that's a support level, what do you know? Look at how on this weekly candle so far, it hasn't closed yet, but the weekly candle, we're more than 60% done with this weekly candle, right? So because of that, this shows us that obviously there is some buying pressure, some support in this area. If it closes like this, then we can anticipate that it could continue higher. So now we can go to lower time frames and just to see what happened and see, even though it's not closed yet on the weekly, on the 4-hour, we do have an engulfing closed candle and another upward candle from here. So what I would say is, once again, this is not a trade right now for me. But once I get confirmation, if this is going to reverse, then I could enter. And so for me, I would honestly base this off the weekly, even though the price could move today. I would base this, and I'm kind of just going to put an alert right above where the current candle is. So if we start pumping, I can start to pay attention to see what that looks like on the 4-hour. Because the way, for me, we've been in this downtrend once again. So trend is my friend. I don't want to get into a buy unless I have confirmation. And the first confirmation that I'm kind of starting to get is I drew this little channel that we were kind of playing with, and we broke out of this green channel here, and we came and retested it and started to go higher, right? Okay, so what I'd want to, we are potentially seeing signs of a reversal happening, but what I want to see is us make a new higher high and then retesting, coming and retesting some level, and it just kind of depends on what happens. So to me, I really don't want to get into a buy, honestly, unless we come above this $19.94 level, almost $20, which we have that logical resistance at $20. Just happens a lot. You can expect that. It's like Bitcoin. It's gonna be logical resistance at and support at 10,000, right, and 20,000. So, okay, you can see I moved on. I put an alert. Otherwise, to the downside, I put an alert to the upside. I don't really want to get into sells on silver. Yeah, I just looked at the monthly, and we're just at this level that could be strong support for many reasons, and I don't feel good about it. We had this strong upward impulse that happened in September 2020. And it was awesome because it shows that we're maybe gaining momentum where we were kind of moving down since 2011. This spike told us, hey, maybe there's a shift and change in the momentum. And silver moves over years. It doesn't, silver and gold, to get the big movements, you can catch them sometimes. Like, you can see that this one candle right here was all in the month of September, or June, I should say, July. And I remember catching that. I made a lot of money from that movement. But the big movements, as you can see, come from waiting, like, yeah, catching this while trading would have been good. But if you could have got in while this was down, that was even better. The price got down to $14 and it ended up spiking up to 30. So silver's, doubled, but it took some time. So anyways, what I'm getting at is the strong movements. I do believe silver will make new all-time highs. So that means, yeah, I believe that silver will go to $60, but it could be 5-10 years. Like it's okay. So having said that, I have that bias long-term. And so because we've come down and we're getting into these levels of potential support where we saw resistance here, we went sideways for a bit. Like, this whole area is a level of support. Let me draw a box to make it more clear. Yeah, you could say that. I have a lot of lines. So like, this whole area is potential support because why? Well, because when we came down here, we touched, we went up, we touched this area, we went up, we touched this, and we went up. So there was accumulation, bunch of people moving the price up and down, collecting, it was going sideways. And then we had that upward spike. So this is a level of strong support. We can also see that back here, we can draw this box even back, or even farther back. See how it was kind of resistance when we came down, and then this area is where the prices accumulated right before we moved up really strong back in 2010, 2011. So because this area is a place where the price tends to spike up really strong, we're now in the area we can look for buys on the higher time frames. I'm talking monthly, weekly charts. So I'm not going to get into a sell just because of that on the higher time frame. So no trade, moving on. I made this box. This is great. I drew this green box here on British pound, Australian dollar. Honestly, like a week and a half ago, my anticipation was that we come down here, and notice we just got that perfect wick down there. Let's look at why. So I drew that box because this was support level down here. We can see here multiple times it was supported. So no, I'm not magic. I'm not psychic. I just, when it comes to trading, I'm logical. So we can see that here we came to this box, we came up, came into it again, we came up, we came into it again, we went up. So very obviously, since the price was in this downward momentum, I drew this box as an anticipation. Now granted, when I drew it, it looked like this. So I expected it to happen a little slower than what it did, but it happened quick. And we're on the weekly here. Got 2 days left for a close. This is a strong candle wick. So I would anticipate this one to make a reversal. And honestly, you know, it's British pound versus Australian dollar. Remember, we looked at British pound, Japanese yen, and that one is already starting on the daily to pump up a little bit. So I think these will kind of perform in unison. And because it's basically the British pound, sounds like it's gaining some strength. So all good, all good, all good. Okay, moving forward, still don't see a trade yet. Yeah, this is another British pound one, so it looks the same. British pound versus Canadian dollar. Gotta say it's the exact same as the last chart we just looked at. Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. Okay, I drew this green box. I can't remember when, but obviously we haven't come down to it yet, and it seems like we may not even do that. Here we got this trend line going. We're very, very obviously at a support level. Not only is it the bottom Bollinger Band, but also it's a trend line. And also to double the also, we can see that this is a support line from back over here too. So this actually looks like maybe potentially a good trade. Now this is going to inspire me to go to the higher time frames. Weekly, we don't have the best price action on the weekly, but we are right at the moving average, which is a strong support level, right? We can see the last couple times we touched that, we ended up touching it. We bounced really high, right? Down here, we didn't touch it quite here, but moving average is always a strong support level. So it's potential, but the fact that this is a strong bearish candle and that got a little weird, you know, we don't have a strong wick. We're not showing like here when we touch the level, the moving average, we had strong wicks multiple times. Here, not so much. Okay. So back to the daily, we are seeing potential support, signs of support, signs that will bounce, but I don't feel good about getting into it probably until we get some kind of engulfing candle, because it's been 4 candles of attempted bounce. 4 hours front running a little bit, meaning we got an engulfing candle here, and it seems like we're moving up and the Bollinger Bands are squeezing. So what I would do is I would set an alert that if we start to move a little higher than that, then I'll start to feel good about looking for a buy. So we could check the hourly. Hourly as well, when we start to move up and then we come back down to retest, right? We make a higher high and we make a higher low. Boom, that's when I want to enter. So same thing, a lot of charts here, guys. No trades for me. Euro odd, same thing. It's looking like we could be hitting resistance while also we're in the short uptrend. Weekly, we're right at the moving average. We're in a downtrend, by the way. And this downward movement did overtake this upward movement. So unless we break this high, I don't think we're going to go up. And I don't think we're going to go down until we start to break the low. So sideways, no trade zone. That's how it's looking. So I'm just going to go to oil. Because when I go through that many Forex charts and I just don't see anything, I'm just like, move on. Yeah, oil, same thing here. We've been moving down, but we're potentially in an area where we could see support. I don't see a trade here. Just don't see any price action, honestly, on any time frame. We just hit a support level, which was resistance. We just touched it. So I don't want to get into a sell, but I definitely don't want to get into a buy because we're in a downtrend. So okay. Bitcoin. Woo. Yesterday's candle is a strong bearish sign. So yesterday's candle, strong rejection off the moving average. Also this level here, which was a resistance level. One could also call this a head and shoulders. Okay, so here we have a shoulder, right? Here's the head. Here's a shoulder. I don't like, live off of these patterns or anything, but I'll just show you. Head and shoulders means downside, usually. Hold up. Computer's glitching. Come on. Because I plugged in my... Oh, what happened to the chart, huh? Oh, there it is. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Head and shoulders. I don't teach about much of these because it doesn't matter really so much because the price action, I mean, head and shoulders is a price action thing, but like, it's just a common occurrence. You can see here in this photo. So funny. Look, I clicked this photo and it's something different. It's kind of weird. That's okay. So yeah, there's head and shoulders. There's also inverse head and shoulders. It's just where you get the price where it touched like the shoulder. You can just like a head and shoulders. The shoulder is going to hit the same height, right? And the head's a spike above. that ends up leading to downside most of the time. Also on Bitcoin, you can see when we came down here, we closed the candle bodies below this low. That's a bearish sign, right? We just had that strong wick off the moving average, off that same level, which is that wick technically created the second shoulder because this downward, upward hadn't been the same height. So yeah, that wick did that. You know, currently on this candle, we are up a little bit. That doesn't mean we're going up. Weekly candle says we got to go down. Engulfing, yeah, it's just nothing about crypto still. People got really excited about the pump the last week or two, especially in XRP, but it's already down to 43 cents again. So let's see. This could be retesting though, very much so. So let's watch it. We hit resistance here on the daily. We're come down and look at this candle currently printing. We got 8 hours left. We can't make a decision on it, but see how we're seeing the fact that there is a bit of a wick means that there's buying pressure. On the 4 hour here though, we are in a downtrend. So until we break that downtrend on the 4 hour, I wouldn't want to enter 1 hour as well. So daily, what could happen with XRP? Well, first level of support that I have was kind of, I'm going to put it obviously where we see this level here, this level here. You know, I did have that line drawn at another level. So let me just draw another line, another level right here. Okay, so these are the first levels. We can see 41 cents, 40 cents. That's first level that we could potentially bounce. So if we hold that, we're seeing some strong wicks. We're seeing like it looks like we want to move up. Then okay, let's do it. But let's just be realistic and also remember that crypto cycles happen over the course of a few years. Okay, and we've been in this strong downtrend on everything, and it's only been a year since we started that downtrend, where it was literally from December 2017 until December 2020 that we were in a downtrend on crypto. We didn't start a new uptrend until it was literally 3 years. Okay, so the one before that also major uptrend. How do you go back? Oh, I don't have all the history. Kind of look at that, but 2016 a little bit. 2016 was still the same run though. Like I would say it's really this like 2015. That upward movement probably. So that would be about two years between. So even so, I just think we have a lot of time to go. So let's just wait. But once again, if it starts moving up, we can't deny the price action. Let's pay attention and we'll be good, you know? So right now though, everything else is pointing that there's more likely to go to the downside. Even this spike here, I can go back in XRP's chart and show you multiple spikes that ended up in a further downside. You know, you can, this one here, sure. After that all-time high in 2017, 2018, we hit like $2-3, came down. We had a strong spike upward all the way up to 80 cents, came back down to 29 cents. Had another spike at 49 cents. We ended up moving all the way down to 10 cents. And then we've spiked all the way up to almost $2, you know, and we're, you know, obviously we're coming down. That was the full uptrend. But notice after the top, we came down, we spiked, didn't make a new high. We moved down. We spiked, we moved down. Okay. We just now spiked. So I'm not saying that we're going to move down, but we just have to pay attention that that's what's happened multiple times before. So I just want all of us to be, you know, knowledgeable, be aware, because my intention is that everyone makes the most money possible. So we got to be patient and just know with crypto, with everything else. Yes, I did buy some more Solana last week. I did. But that's just because over the next 5-10 years, it's a really good risk to reward ratio where it's at. I still believe things are going to go lower, but I also realize that that's not 100% sure. And so I want to be protected. So I'm still probably about 20% exposed to all crypto. So all my money that I have available to invest into crypto that I'm ready, I only got 20% of it actually in the market. So the rest we're waiting. Okay. I don't own any XRP. I don't. I don't know. I just can't morally do it. Like people have paid me in XRP for coaching and stuff. And I just can't hold on to it. I just don't, I'm not a fan just because it's literally bank coin. So it's giving power of blockchain, which the power of blockchain, the intention is to get rid of the banks who have caused so much fraud in this world. And XRP just gives them the power, gives banks the power of blockchain. So I don't think it'll pick up, obviously. These governments and stuff, they have a lot of money, they have a lot of power, they have a lot of influence for sure. They're really good at getting out ideologies through different channels, even what people think are conspiracies and truths. You know, these are all things that are created by those with a lot of power, with a lot of money. So yeah, I personally I would rather take my vote. I believe that something like Solana will give you a better return on your money than XRP. And I actually believe that something like Bitcoin, even though it probably wouldn't give as good of a return because it's got more money in it, it's still going to give an amazing return. I think Bitcoin will go to 4 million bucks one day. But I think Bitcoin is much more secure investment than XRP, because if XRP is compliant, that means it's under control of the government. And we just saw with Russia what the government was able to do to a bunch of Russian companies. And it got so big that it even affected us here because MetaTrader, because the US government said, hey, we believe you're helping the Russian government to move money around. And so Apple, who listens to their government, their US government daddy, removed MetaTrader from the App Store because of that. So the fact that I don't care what opinions are of Russia and Ukraine and war, that to me doesn't matter. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, doesn't matter. No other person should have the power to freeze your assets, freeze your money, your bank account, right? It shouldn't have to happen, right? There should be due process for everything. It shouldn't be like you're guilty until proven innocent, which happens in the US. That's how the US is. That's how most places are. If you're suspected of fraud, they freeze all your accounts and prove to us that you're innocent before we unfreeze things. That's not okay. So if they can do that right now with bank accounts and assets, cars, houses, all that, I mean, you buying XRP, the most compliant crypto, you're also signing up for the same type of thing, where with your money, you're voting, you're saying, hey, I'm okay with this. I'm putting my money into things that can be controlled. And so why would we want to do that? Like, that just, to me, it just makes zero logical sense. But it's because a lot of the reasons why people buy this, there is logic behind, well, the government's adopting it, so it's going to go up. So let's just do again what our government daddy, let's just follow what our government daddy has told us to do over the last hundreds of years, because that's gone so well for all of the human race, right? It's gone so well for the world. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm just one guy. I know that my money is right now not gonna change the whole market, and me buying XRP isn't gonna stop it or anything. I realize that. As an investment, it still probably will be one of the better investments you can make, because it has these guarantees. It's being supported and it's compliant by the government. However, I still think that there's many other cryptocurrencies that will give you a better return than XRP would, number one. And number two, they aren't contributing to less freedom, So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I feel pretty good. It was a decent live stream. I didn't see anything in the charts. I was feeling really good. I'm still flowing. So we'll see if anything pops up tomorrow. I'll keep posted. As of right now, for those that know, I will be sending an email probably today or tomorrow just about Atlantis and our next call with the fund. I'm really excited about that. So just keep your eyes peeled for an email there. And we're flowing. So appreciate everyone. And Teresa, looks like you're on. So let's you and I get on a call maybe this Friday. I'll text you though. We can organize that. So yeah, cool. Okay, I'll post this recording for everyone else. And if you have any questions, of course, just reach out. So all the love. Everyone have
Thanks, Cody.
Yeah. See you guys.